are now listening to the Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys. The Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys is a John Mitchell story and is brought to you by Cine Downloads. Narrated by Dr. Hugh Pincott. Previously on the Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys. They grab the vessels knowing that two of them contain their leaders. They don't know which is which. The march goes ahead. The demons march and the whole world sees them properly for the very first time. Now the next part of the story. Episode 26. After the march is over, Steve goes back to the temple to see how things are going. He's immediately approached by Cheng, who tells him that the chief executive has been phoning constantly all day, wanting a word with him. This doesn't surprise Steve in the slightest. Zing runs in and says that they have a phone call from the chief executive for Steve. Steve sighs and Cheng adds,
"Yes, he's been ringing every 10 minutes all day. I told him you had the flu, and he said you're a lying piece of shit."
He said what? I'll have him for that.
Steve walks out into the foyer area where the phone is and waits for Zing to leave before he picks up the receiver.
"Hi there, Chief. I hear you've been after me."
The chief executive sounds very angry.
"Funny how your flu sounds like it's gone."
"Yeah, it flew away."
"Flew away? Very good. Now where's my 50 grand?
50 grand? Now, what's that for?"
The money that you owe me."
Money? Oh, yeah, I remember. 50,000. You'll have to put the request in writing and put it through the right channels.
Yeah, don't be stupid. It's a backhander, you idiot.
Idiot?
The police are after me and I've been snitched up by the Illuminati. I need the money right now so I can leave the country. Don't fuck me about. I want my money. Now where is it?
Well, about that. I have the money, but it's not liquid right now.
What do you mean?
It's wrapped up in an apartment block project in Bulgaria. We're building blocks of flats overlooking the Caspian Sea. Russians are queuing up to buy them. It will be a great bit of business, but it means that the money tied up there for 5 years at least. Is that a problem?
5 years? 5 years? I need the money in 5 minutes. I need to catch a flight to Brazil.
Damn, are you okay to wait 5 years before you go?
No, I'm fucking not. They're after me right now.
Well, I can't do anything until the investment matures, but I'll track and arrange a payout as soon as we're able. How does that sound?
Fuck you!
The chief executive slams the phone down.
Okay, see you soon,
says Steve with a smile. The chief executive goes nuts. He smashes his office up. He punches his computer monitor, tips over his desk, frisbees all the pictures off the wall into the facing walls, throws his chair through the window, then grabs his bottle of whiskey and storms out of his office. As he passes by, Tracy looks at him disapprovingly. He stops in the corridor and takes a giant swig from the bottle. He can't escape. Steve won't give him his money, which means that he'll either go to prison and get bummed in the showers every day, or he'll get taken by the Illuminati and locked up in the toilets forever. He doesn't know which fate is worse, so he decides to go to the toilets and drink his whiskey and see who finds him first, the police or the Illuminati. He opens a cubicle and sits down, closing the door behind him. He takes big swigs from the bottle and cries silently. After a while, he sees a familiar shadow under the door, and the door is slowly pushed open. The two Illuminati tower over him, and Right Illuminati raises his bony hand and points at the chief exec, who cries some more. The reporter is on the television. He's sitting behind a news desk reporting the news of the march from Tiffany Towers' old job. He looks very happy and pleased with himself as he reads from the auto cue. He talks about the demons marching through the streets and not a refugee in sight. He tells of how the chief executive of the city council fabricated the refugee story in order to embezzle funds from the government, and he abused his authority to ensure that a culture of silence came into force. He would use his position to threaten anybody who tried to speak the truth, including high-ranking police officials and others on the council's executive committee. Misdeeds were discovered when it was found during a routine audit that a slush fund existed and £550,000 of taxpayers' money had disappeared from this into his extensive network of tax havens and Swiss bank accounts. The chief executive is now on the run, believed to be in Colombia and facing years in jail if he's eventually caught and brought back to face charges. The reporter now brings the focus back to that of the demons, and he shows footage of the horrible monstrosities walking through the streets. He asks the viewer to consider some important questions. Who are these demons? What do they want? Who are they? And what does this mean for the rest of us? He finishes by telling us that only time will tell, and he gives a wink and a smug smile to the camera.
And keep 'em peeled.
Dubmaster Swift turns the television off while calling the reporter a spite prick. He sits down on one of the sofas in the hall. Master Cheng is standing nearby and Swift calls him over. Cheng sighs and walks up to him.
Hey, Master Dude, I have some thoughts I want to fly in your face. Well, here's the deal. Orange peel, I'm struggling to find work on the DJ scene. Times are hard, but I gotta keep on pushing my image into the public consciousness, otherwise I fade away like Blockbuster video. So I'm looking at other ways to market my face and unique sound. I'm thinking about books and films with merchandising. Maybe like possibly plastic figures of me working the decks looking cool. But the main way I want to go forward is to have a freelancer follow me around, documenting my hard times and the current struggle, showing the hardships and obstacles I'm having to face while I work my way back to the top, where I eventually be headlining Creamfields. I'm going to put it all in my book and TV series called Dumb Master Swift Destroys the Terrible Monsters, Nasty Horde of Evil Crap. So anyway, this freelancer had just become a free agent and is looking to work for peanuts, which is great, and I have no money, only my wits, my charisma, and this girl is looking to work her way back to the top also. We're like soul twins, and she's said she's happy to document me, and she's looking for interesting stories to cover, and there's nothing in this town more interesting than me.
Cheng looks bored.
So I said to her, come on baby, chill with the top 10 master of all melting wonderment. And she was like, whoa, that's so amazing. So here she is, Tiffany Towers.
Tiffany emerges from behind a door and slinks across the room to stand beside Cheng. She says,
Hello.
Cheng's mouth drops open in astonishment.
She lost her job suddenly to make way for the guy who used to work here in the toilets. Yeah, I don't understand that one either. How the frig did this shit scrubbing turd twat bag her job? Too weird for me anyway. Anyway, she knows me from way back, reporting about my awesome DJ sets in the past. In fact, we spent some time at the backstage parties in Ibiza and Ayia Napa, back in the days where I was big on the Mediterranean scene, and we'd hire a jeep and just cruise until the sun came down. Later, we jumped into Sasha's private jet and we'd have a couple of bottles of champagne, and then we'd jump out of 50,000 feet and parachute onto Carl Cox's yacht below for an all-night party. Torpor would be spinning the vinyl like a god on crack, and we'd dance with top models from Victoria's Secret, and then make love on the deck outside underneath the stars until the sun came up. So you know, me and Tiff, we were pretty well acquainted.
Is there a point to this, Swift?
Asked Cheng.
Oh yeah, well, she called me to see if I could help her out in the meantime because she lost her job to the spectacled toilet twat. And she knew I was in town, trying to resurrect my career by being seen by the world to be charitable and good-natured and all that other helpful wank. So she asked me, and I said, yeah. So she said, yeah. So I said, yeah. But I need you to say yeah. And if you say yeah, then it's official.
Swit, what are you talking about?
Cheng's head starts to hurt.
What I'm saying is, Chang baby, can you put her on the books to work here with us?
Work with us? Is that what this is about? You want me to give her a job?
Yeah, man, she needs to work here, getting a wage so that she can follow me and record my adventures. It'd be great marketing angle for you guys too, as she is one of the most famous people in this town.
In principle, that sounds good, but, well, we need tough people here. Too many have proven to be fragile and let us down. Is she tough?
Swift nods and stands up. He walks over to Tiffany and puts his face up close to hers.
Come on, baby. Show us your sexy, tough face. Come on.
He makes a face like a tiger. She punches him spark out.
Ow.
His limp body crashes onto the floor. Cheng nods.
You're tough enough to come here. Welcome.
She smiles and then apologizes for being rude to him when she did the interview the other week. But she wants to learn about the operation here, see what they do, and maybe put together a report about it. She says that she was forced out by unseen pressure from the top, as she got too close to the truth. But now that truth is out, she needs to follow up on the story, and to do that from the inside here is the best option. That's the way to get things done in the media. Cheng doesn't really understand what she's talking about. He just wants some more staff, so he says,
Okay.
She gives him a big hug. And once she lets go, the slightly embarrassed Cheng meanders off towards the other end of the hall. Here he finds Zing. Zing is walking around with his clipboard, making notes about everything he finds. Cheng watches him for a few seconds. He remembers the way Zing used to be, free and fun-loving, and now he has become Steve's personal robot.
Zing, are you still happy here?
Cheng asks. Zing doesn't look up from his clipboard, but down at Cheng's shoes.
Master, your shoes are not regulation, slip-on moccasins, and most hazardous.
He then looks up at Cheng's face.
And your beard is too long. It may get caught in the machinery, which could cause your death.
Zing, we don't have any machinery.
Also, the windows haven't been cleaned, and they're not letting in the regulatory amount of light. There's just not enough environmental lumens here, which if it's not sorted out quickly, I'll have this place shut down on Steve's authority.
Cheng sighs and says remorsefully,
I lost you too, haven't I, Zing?
Zing brushes this off.
No, I'm right here, making sure things are done the correct way, according to Steve's rules and regulations. Also, Master, I have noticed that your personal hygiene isn't up to the current health and safety standards and needs to be addressed at once.
Zing writes these things down on his clipboard, then walks off, leaving Cheng feeling quite lonely. Efuhofcn's demon army has ensconced itself to its lair in the demon zone. They've arranged the rubble and street debris to make makeshift battlements and walls. Behind these walls, they've made a base inside a set of buildings which used to provide electrical goods and shoes. These buildings are some of the only ones left in incomparable good condition. The demons themselves are leaderless and depressed, although dressed in the latest fashionable footwear. Without Efuhofcn to guide them in their war against the other demons and human demon hunters, they have little motivation to carry on. They have replaced the 3 vessels onto a makeshift shrine, resplendent with candles and dead rats. They're too afraid to open the vessels in case they release Yertafgryn, and face his white-hot, magic-powered fury. But knowing that their leader is still with them, albeit trapped inside a detergent bottle, is enough to keep the army from disbanding. They still have hope that this situation will be sorted out soon. They'll get their leader back, and they can continue their mission of mayhem. Yet for now, they must amuse themselves as best they can. It is against this backdrop that Peditsik, accompanied by the other rebel leaders, approaches the demon lair. He asks to speak to the demon army, and eventually he's allowed into the lair to speak with those who are interested in listening to him. There is a group of about 30 demons who will hear him. He sees that without a leader, they will have no focus anymore, or any real agenda to follow. So he offers the hand of friendship and reconciliation to them. He tells them to join their brother and sister demons in the ongoing fight for their rights and acknowledgement of decent working conditions. He could use their help, as the more they number, the more strength they have to turn Satan's mind in their favor. The demons have listened to his persuasive argument, and one after the other, they throw it back in his face. They snarl and threaten him with violence unless he leaves the lair. He asks why they resist what is clearly in their best interests. They don't give him a reply beyond throwing rocks at him. The truth is, they would rather pursue an agenda of selling him and the other marchers out to Satan in return for rewards in hell. They look at Peditsik and the others as being weak-minded simpletons who can be easily subjected to servitude with the right tactics and force. Trying to talk and reason with their master was pathetic. The only way to gain his favor is to appease him with sacrifices. Peditsik has done his best to reach out to the demon army, but can see they too are entrenched in their own attitudes to change their minds. He hopes that they may come around to his way of thinking later, especially so if they can make some real progress, and with that in mind, he leaves, but lets them know that the door is always open if they wish to join later. They throw rocks, glass bottles, and wooden planks at him in reply. The toady is one of those that witnesses Peditsik and the other rebel leaders trying to turn the army, and he sees some of them considering the offer. This worries him, that as time progresses without a leader, the demon army will eventually break up and fragment. A great opportunity will be lost as a result, so he wonders how they can get the vessels opened up safely. He decides to contact the only person he knows that may be able to help. That person is the council rep. This human seems to have access to Satan, apparently, and may have further access to occult information that can allow them to identify the right vessels. It would seem like this annoying and whiny human being may be their only option. The council rep, since the march went through, has been unsure about his role. If the demons are now to be accepted by the public as being real and deserving of acceptance into society, then it made no sense to keep them locked up in the demon zone. Yet, it may be far too early for society even to accept them. They've only had one march, and people will take time to trust or even believe what they saw. So maybe he should keep them locked up for longer, or maybe he should just try to have the demons eradicated from the earth and sent back to hell. This would be the most sensible option, as anything else would require the council to support and fund the demons' rehabilitation into society, which should be at an extortionate cost. He needs answers from the council's chief executive board about what to do, but since the chief executive has gone missing, the other board members have become utterly afraid of taking any responsibility for the situation. They avoid taking any questions about it from him and won't answer his phone calls. He has been growing frustrated at the lack of communication and movement. He decides that he will go to the Civic Center itself to speak to them face to face about what to do. He puts his coat on when he hears his phone ring. Beyond seeing a small skirmish in the distance and some magic powers being unleashed, the rep has no idea what has happened in the Demon Zone that day before the march. So when the toady phones him, he's interested to hear about what befell Efuhofcn and is quite surprised when the toady tells him that Efuhofcn is now trapped inside a bottle of detergent. Not even a premium brand of detergent, but some extra value bottom shelf crap. The toady further tells him how there are 2 other bottles, both with a demon inside, one good and one bad, but there's no way of knowing which demon is in which bottle. The toady wants to know if he can help. The rep thinks for a while, and then slowly a plan forms inside his slick, self-satisfied brain. He tells the toady to bring the vessel to him when he asks, as he knows some people that can help, but it will take some persuading. With Efuhofcn safely locked away, the sigils on the Goths' faces have slowly faded, and with it, his influence over them. They are once again free from his spell, and the feeling of being able to think and act for themselves without a crushing sense of dread, duty, or compulsion is liberating. Once they fully realize they're free, they are ecstatic and high-five each other and give group hugs. They do not know about Efuhofcn's imprisonment in the vessel, so don't understand why they are now free from his demonic influence. But they nevertheless celebrate being free from it. They call Efuhofcn all kinds of abusive names and taunt him.
Yeah, you gay ass, scaly-faced, spunk bubble.
Screw you, you pug ugly fuck nugget.
Yeah, you prick. Don't call us girls anymore, you gender-specific identification mistaken confused person.
Yeah, we're not your personal zombie mongs doing all your two-faced, snaky, dirty work.
You can't make us do things we don't want to anymore. We're free from you. We're not your mindless slaves anymore.
Cheng is walking past the canteen where all this is happening and has overheard all the noise. He's interested in what they're saying and walks in.
Excuse me, fellas. What do you mean by being free from this demon's influence? Have you been under the influence of demons all of this time?
The Goths are shocked and surprised to see Master Cheng.
No.
They quickly try to lie their way out of it.
Oh my god, Master, of course not. That would be ridiculous.
We're only messing about. We're just role-playing what would have happened if we had been, and then we're not.
Yeah, we love a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, just elves and goblins and shit.
Dungeons and Dragons? What are you on about, you knob?
What am I on about? What are you on about?
I'm on about you knob.
What?
Ralph punches Melvin in the face. Melvin kicks Ralph in the balls. Cheng is confused. Floyd shouts at them to stop, then speak to Cheng.
Oh, Master, pay no mind to these two. They've spent the morning, smoking crack.
Ah, now I understand.
Cheng smiles knowingly.
No, we haven't.
I'm not a crackhead.
Exclaims Ralph.
Yeah, what you on about, you knob?
Melvin and Ralph punch Lloyd. Floyd punches Melvin. Melvin punches Ralph. Ralph punches Floyd. Melvin punches Floyd. Ralph punches Melvin. Cheng sighs, shakes his head, and walks out. Steve has been pacing up and down the hall for some time. He doesn't know how they can complete the mission now that his staff have all gone, and the demon march has gone ahead. He still wants paying the rest of the money for the contract, and maybe if there's enough left he can wangle an extension or even more money. But first he has to know what the council now want, considering the situation has changed so much. He knows that the chief exec has disappeared, and no one has seen him for days, so he decides to contact the chief exec's office to see who else is there that he can talk to. Tracy, the secretary, takes the call. She tells him that the role hasn't been filled in his absence. The rest of the executive lack the leadership skills necessary to take the reins. They're only looking after their own interests and keeping their heads down, so nothing is happening. This whole demon thing's a hot potato that they don't want to touch, and the chief executive's job is a poisoned chalice they don't even want in their lunchbox. Steve says he needs to speak to someone soon so he can move forward with the project, but again, she says there's no one to help there. He thinks for a moment and actually regrets not helping the chief earlier with the money he wanted. He tells Tracy that he actually misses the sweaty old crook and wishes he was back again. She sympathizes and looks through the doorway into the boardroom beyond. All the execs are in the boardroom shouting at each other and arguing. They don't know what to do. The whole thing is out of control, and they just want it all to go away so that they can play squash again and talking about skiing holidays like they used to. Tracy tells Steve that she'll go in and find someone in there who wants to take the responsibility. Steve says okay, he'll wait. The rep is with the executives. He arrived not long ago wanting to know what is happening now that the march has gone through. Are they intending to keep the demons locked up? Are they going to rehabilitate them? What's going on? No one will answer him, and the buck gets passed between the heads of departments in a revolving circle. Tracy, the secretary, comes in and asks who is in charge. The executives all look at each other and wait for someone to volunteer. No one does. The council rep sees his opportunity and says,
I am.
The executives all look at him open-mouthed. They don't know what to say. He tells them that the chief promised him the next opening on the executive board for helping him, and here was that opening. The execs can't believe his shameless arrogance, but no one wants to challenge him in case they themselves get fingered for the top job. So they just look at each other, hoping somebody else will step forward and put him in his place, but no one does. They all stay quiet and frustrated with each other. Tracy hands him the phone and tells him that Steve from the temple wants to talk to him. The rep takes the phone and swaggers out of the room to find somewhere quiet to take the call. Steve wastes no time and gets straight to the point. He tells him he has no staff at the moment. They're all injured, and he'll need more money to train a batch of new staff. He's looking at a cash injection of about £75,000 to bring the project back online. The rep thinks for a second, and the perfect plan forms in his mind. He tells Steve that there's no need for an outrageous cash injection. He will instead recruit the former soldiers of the demon Efuhofcn to do the work instead. Steve can't believe what he's just heard.
Demons working for the temple. Are you crazy?
The rep laughs before replying.
Take it easy, Stevie. This is a genius plan. These demons are committed to crushing the other demons and want to send them back to hell. That's the same mission statement that's in your contract, I believe.
That may be so, but having demons in the temple is just wrong. You can't have demons fighting other demons out under our flag. That's like fighting fire with fire. It's ridiculous. Actually, wait a minute.
The council rep replies,
They wouldn't be soldiers like normal temple soldiers. They'd be hired as mercenaries. Every army in history has had mercenaries in it to do the dirty work. This could be no different.
Look, I can see the potential of what you're saying, but I'm not sure that the temple headquarters in Hong Kong would feel that same way. They'd see this as being heresy. I can't see this working at all.
Let me put it another way, Steve. These demons won't need holidays, sick pay, don't care if they get injured, won't put it in claims, and will probably work for free. You'd save an absolute fortune.
Okay, I'm interested. Don't worry about the Hong Kong people. I'll sweet talk those crusty old fucks. When can we get these demon freaks in the temple?
The rep laughs again. He's so smug.
I can get it organised very quickly. But first we have to undertake a simple task to make it work.
Okay, what is it?
What does the temple know about the enchanted vessels with demons trapped inside them?
The toady delivers the vessels to the rep, who then gets a police escort to deliver the vessels to Steve at the temple. Steve takes the vessels and goes to find Cheng. Cheng is busy looking at a wall. Steve interrupts him and tells him that the demons will be working here to get rid of all the other demons.
What?
Cheng is utterly appalled at this.
No.
It goes against everything they stand for.
Never.
Steve was expecting this kind of reaction,
No.
but reminds him
No.
that this isn't China in the 18th century anymore, and modern problems require thinking outside the box to fix them.
Cheng, you retard.
Cheng ignores this and instead goes berserk at Steve.
You cannot be serious about this. Let me remind you that the temple is here to destroy demons in all their forms, wherever they find them. We fight an endless war against their foul kind. Complete destruction of demonkind. This is the temple philosophy. It's been this way for 5,000 years.
Yeah, that's all great. Here's the thing, Cheng. We have no staff left, and the guys we bring in from the agencies are too weak and fragile. They fall apart under pressure and get the crap beaten out of them. We need muscle, real fighters, people not afraid to take risks with their lives. People who will take this fight all the way to the enemy and will fight them until the last breath has left their hot, steaming corpse. We won't get those kinds of people from the job centre. These demons are the perfect warriors for us. They are enemies of the marchers. They hate them and want them destroyed. They're the same as we want. Plus, they'll work for peanuts and won't sue us if they get hurt. It's perfect.
You're a lunatic, Steve.
Steve is not impressed by this.
Look, Cheng, I'm in charge here, not you, so we're doing it. If you have a problem with that, then you can walk. The door is over there.
Cheng is in emotional turmoil, but manages to bring his feelings under control. He remembers his personal mission in all this. He will give Steve all the rope he needs to hang himself, and then he can report back to Hong Kong that this whole management structure arrangement is nothing but a disaster at every level. Once done, things will get back to normal again, just like the old days. Steve is waiting for a reply. Cheng gives him one.
Very well, Steve. We'll do things your way.
This pleases Steve immensely.
That's the spirit, Changy boy.
Okay. What is the first step with this plan of yours?
Steve walks over to where he placed the vessels. He picks them up, walks back to Cheng and hands them over. Cheng looks at them carefully and is puzzled.
These 3 detergent bottles contain 3 demons. One is the leader of the demons who will help us. One is his friend who will help us. The last is very evil and dangerous demon who will destroy us and burn the temple down to the ground. We have to release the 2 good demons so that we can enlist their help. But we must not open the one with the evil demon in, or we're all dead.
I see. Now, which one is which?
No one knows. I thought you might know. You been into all this demon crap and that.
No. Enchanting was in Ma's domain. She would have known instantly which was which.
Well, that's just great. Cock Wang took her away. Even when he's not here, he's messing with my plans. I hate that prick. So if no one knows, then we're just gonna have to guess and open them and hope that we don't get killed.
We may be able to do this without much risk.
Steve looks over with interest.
Yuma left some enchanted vessels before she left. We can have one on standby when we open these vessels. That way, if the evil demon is released, we can quickly capture it again. It shouldn't be much of a problem.
I like your thinking, Changbo. Now all we need are some retards to open the vessels. You don't fancy opening one, do you, Cheng?
No thank you. I will be holding the new vessel.
Okay then, we'll have to get those dipshit Goth losers to do it.
Soon the three Goths have arrived. They're looking around the room and interested in the 1970s-era flock wallpaper.
Groovy, man.
They have no idea about what is to happen.
Hey, groovy.
Cheng is standing close by with the emergency vessel, and Zing stands behind him, quietly uttering the invocation to capture the wrong demon in Cheng's vessel, if needed. Steve walks over to the Goths and hands them a vessel each. The Goths look puzzled as they examine the vessels.
Why are you giving us detergent bottles? Are you saying that we don't wash our clothes enough?
Asked Melvin.
You definitely don't. You've had those white stains on the front of your jeans for weeks.
As Ralph.
That's paint. It doesn't come out.
It doesn't look like paint.
Oh, what are you trying to say?
Asks Melvin, getting annoyed. Cheng can see that these Goths are about to start hitting each other again, so coughs loudly to distract them. All three Goths look at him, and he nods at Steve. Steve comes closer to the Goths to get their full attention.
Guys, these aren't detergent bottles.
Steve realizes that he has come too close to the Goths, and their stale malodor makes his eyes water.
Although you definitely could do with washing your clothes, you dirty stink bags.
The Goths look embarrassed.
Inside each of these bottles is a demon, and we need to open these bottles to release them. 2 of these demons are good, friendly demons, and the last one is evil, and will quite likely pull your heads off and throw them through the window.
The Goths look at each other, horrified.
But don't worry, as we have Cheng and Zing here with another vessel. As soon as we know which is the evil demon, we'll capture it again before it kills you all. So there's no need to worry.
The Goths look at each other with worried expressions on their faces. Ralph asks a question.
How will you know which is the evil demon, as all demons are evil by nature?
This question stumps Steve, who looks over at Cheng for an answer. Cheng hasn't a clue and just shrugs. Steve looks back at the Goths.
Well, the way we'll find out is to open each one in turn and see what kind of demon pops out.
The Goths look at each other as they think about this plan. Floyd asks a question now.
So, if Ralph opens a bottle and the demon claws his face off, then we know it's the evil one?
Exactly.
Replies Steve happily. The Goths look at each other again and seem happy with the plan. Ralph isn't. He's quite concerned and wants more information.
Do you know the names of these demons? That would help to identify them if they appear.
I was told the names of the demons, but to be honest, I've forgotten them.
Ralph looks troubled, and this annoys Steve.
Not really my fault. These demons' names are ridiculous. It's like they're just a bunch of random letters thrown together, and they're totally unpronounceable. Why don't demons have proper names like Tom or Donald? Look, just open the bottle. If the demon tries to rip your skull apart, Cheng and Zing will instantly stop it. Won't you, Cheng?
Steve looks over at Cheng, who shrugs in reply. This dismays Steve, who looks back at the Goths.
So you see, there's nothing to worry about, really.
The 3 Goths are annoyed, but say that they'll go ahead with the plan, as they haven't got any better ideas. This pleases Steve, who lines up the Goths next to each other. They have their vessels in their hands in front of them, and Steve decides to go from left to right in the line, starting off with Ralph. He chooses Ralph to go first, as Ralph annoyed him. Ralph complains about this, saying it's unfair. Steve tells him that if he doesn't like working here, he can go down the job center for a new job, and that there are plenty of people who'd love his position. Ralph reluctantly agrees and grips the bottle lid with his trembling fingers. Steve steps back. He doesn't want to get splattered with blood or Goth intestines. Ralph gulps, then carefully twists the bottle lid. As the lid is slowly released, there's a whistling sound of wind, and smoke is forced out through the tiny gap. Ralph's eyes are wide with fear as he decides to quickly twist the lid off and hope for the best. The lid comes off with great pressure. It fires across the room and a flood of smoke pours out of the bottle. This smoke fuses into a huge, hulking figure that towers over them all. The Goths are petrified. Cheng and Zing are ready with their emergency vessel, and Steve is worried about his expensive shoes. The giant figure is now fully formed. It is extremely confused and worried. It looks around in a futile attempt to orientate itself as to its surroundings. It sees Steve, Cheng, and Zing. It doesn't recognize them, and then turns and sees the 3 Goths. The Goths suddenly become very worried. This demon is Dhoiufg, and he sees them. His scary pit bull face suddenly becomes puppy-like with joy.
My 3 human friends!
He bounds over to them and sweeps them up in his massive arms, hugging all 3 at once. Cheng is confused.
Friends, do you 3 know this demon?
The 3 Goths struggle to breathe in this vice-like group hug from the over-enthusiastic demon. Floyd manages to squeeze out a reply.
No, Master, we've never seen him before.
Cheng nods, but he's not sure. Steve speaks up.
Well, this demon looks friendly enough. Let's open the next vessel.
He shouts over at Dhoiufg.
Good boy. Put them down, boy. That's a good boy.
Dhoiufg puts the Goths down and stands next to them, his big, furry face grinning from ear to ear.
Oh, I think it's time for the next vessel. Ralph, open it.
Ralph shouts out.
No way! I did the last one. It's someone else's turn.
You've got more experience than the others at opening these bottles. You did a great job with the last one. You're obviously the best man for the job. Now open it.
Ralph is really angry about this and snatches Melvin's vessel from him. He stares daggers at Steve and twists the top off with a quick movement. Smoke pours out of this bottle, and it slowly coalesces into a smaller form than the last, but this is more grotesque, with grey skin and claws. All 6 humans stare at the accumulating monster, wondering whether it's friendly or not. Dhoiufg is the first to recognize it.
Efuhofcn!
The now formed demon turns to see his giant pitbull friend. He then sees the 3 Goths. He turns again to look upon Steve, Cheng, and Zing. Steve remembers being told that name by the council rep. He realizes that this is the other friendly demon and takes his phone from his pocket.
What is the meaning of this, you human scum?
This is Efuhofcn.
You bring me here for one purpose only. You seek to mock me. I, a servant of the truly evil one, will not stand to be taunted by your need for mirth and merriment. Your insulting actions shall bring yourselves an early death. I will flay you all alive and desecrate your corpses. I will suck you down to hell, where I will torture and torment your souls for 100 million years. I will...
Easy there, hot stuff. Here's a telephone call for you.
Steve hands over the phone to the demon, who stops ranting and politely takes the phone.
Yes, thank you.
On the other end is the council rep, who speaks as soon as he can hear the demon's noisy, foul breathing.
Efo, the plan worked. You've been released from the vessel.
Council rep? Is that you? What is happening here?
You and that giant third horror were captured by the other demons and some bottles. I put a plan together with the guys from the temple to release you and get your revenge on the others later.
These are temple men? Ah, that makes sense. My 3 girly spies are here.
Cheng shoots an accusing look at the 3 Goths when he hears this. The Goths look sheepish.
So, we were captured in vessels. That Yertafgryn is a crafty old weasel. Where is he now?
He's locked inside the final vessel. We want him kept inside as his powers may cause some issues.
He sacrificed himself to capture us. What an idiot. Yes, a wise maneuver to keep him locked up.
Look, Efu, I want you and your demon army to work with the temple from now on. They want to get rid of all the demons and banish them back to hell. I know you want to achieve similar things, so this is the perfect solution.
The solution will only work if you tell Satan about our involvement in returning all of his demons. Don't forget our arrangement, little man.
How many times must I tell you, Efu? I'm sorting things out as we speak. Satan will hear about his heroic demonic helpers. You and your guys will get big promotions and riches or whatever it is that Satan doles out to his minions. Don't worry about it. Now, for this to work, you will recognise that Steve and his senior temple staff are in charge there. They are the ones calling the shots. If you do not follow their wishes, then our agreement will be terminated. Do you understand?
Very well. Your plan makes sense and could be quite entertaining. Working side by side with our hated enemies, the Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys. Yes, this could be fun.
Efuhofcn ends the call and looks around with a big grin on his face. Dhoiufg looks very happy to see him, but the three Goths look plagued with worry. Efuhofcn winks at them and his sigil burns itself back onto their faces again. They scream in pain and all three run out of the building. Steve walks over to Efuhofcn.
Well then, big guy. We have the ability to deal with the demons, but we don't have the manpower. You guys have the manpower. If you can bring your army over to us, then we can get this war started. And we can all benefit. What do you say?
I shall speak to my soldiers and gather their support. It may not be an easy task, however. The temple and our kind have a long and difficult history. But I am quite keen to explore this new adventure. It amuses me. Yet, we have similar objectives, and it may actually work out, so I will persuade them as best I can.
Okay, sounds good. Let me know when you're ready and we can get to work.
Efuhofcn treats Steve to a nasty grin, and then he turns around and starts walking out. Dhoiufg smiles and follows him. Cheng can't believe what's happening. Demons are his new staff. The hated enemy are now part of the temple. This goes against everything he has fought for since the temple was founded 5,000 years ago. These events are too weird for him to cope with, and he stands there transfixed, trying to make sense of it all. Steve sees that Cheng is having trouble coming to terms with this new arrangement, so gives him a pat on the shoulder. This has little effect, and Steve gives up. His attention is then diverted to the last vessel, which was dropped onto the floor by the Goth spies earlier. He retrieves this bottle and wonders what to do with it. He sees Xing trying to talk to Cheng, who is still in some kind of trance, and calls him over. He passes the vessel to Xing, telling him to put it somewhere where no one will open it. Xing knows the perfect place for Yertafgryn's vessel and walks through the temple to the room at the back, which contains a cupboard for cleaning products. No one ever does any cleaning here, so no one will ever find or open this bottle. He places it next to some carpet cleaner and closes the door. Room 23. The memo on the notice board reads, "The walls of this building contain asbestos. Please be aware that any summoned demons that move through the walls may be at risk from cancer." The council rep is here at the summoning ritual for the very first time. He sees the other board members milling around and chatting with each other whilst dressed in their robes. When they see him, they all stop to look. He feels slightly uncomfortable by the attention, but now that he has it, he decides to address them all.
Hello everybody. In the continued absence of the Chief Executive, I have been asked to fill this post until he comes back. No one knows where he is or if he'll be arrested when he surfaces or anything really, so until we understand his situation, I'll be acting as Chief Executive. with all the executive powers that the position entails.
This announcement causes something of a ruckus amongst the board members. The Development Resources Planning Manager is the first to speak out.
This is ridiculous. The position has to be advertised. You can't just grab the top job and take over.
The other board members loudly agree.
Yes, who put you in charge? It has to be passed through the board for approval.
Adds the Strategic Direction of Communication and Organizational Development. The council rep shouts them down.
Tracy offered me the position full-time as you lot were too timid to take the opportunity yourselves.
Tracy? I don't believe that Tracy, the secretary, has the executive powers to undertake such a responsibility.
Exclaims the Assistant Director for Integrated Legal Development. The other board members howl in agreement.
Secretaries don't even earn 20,000 a year. Who does she think she is?
The Strategic Director for Community Project shouts out. The council rep fights back.
Well, I didn't hear any of you lot putting your names forward when she asked for volunteers for the post.
Of course not. A situation like this has to go through the correct procedures. You can't just make things up as you go along.
The head of Financial Management and Accounting adds.
Look, none of you want me in this job, so how about you come forward to do the job yourselves? You all with your big opinions, do you want the job?
He points to the Strategic Director of Communication and Organization Development, who suddenly becomes shy and says,
No.
Then what about you?
He now points at the Development Resources Planning Manager, who also goes shy and just shakes his head.
And you?
He points at the Assistant Director of Integrated Legal Development, who doesn't reply but looks at his feet instead.
So everyone here complains if I do the job, but none of you want the job yourself. Well, how about you all shut the fuck up and let me get on with it?
The room goes silent, and the rep waits for anyone to speak before he moves on to his next item on his agenda. The Director of Assisted Commissioning and Transformation mutters to the head of Community and Economic Project Participation that it's wrong that he's in the job, and the other mutters his disagreement, but not loud enough to be heard by the rep. The next item on the agenda is the daily summoning attempt of Satan. The rep puts his robes on. They're back to front. He doesn't realize this, and no one helps him to put them on properly. He picks up the ritual tome from the lectern and leafs through the pages. He doesn't really know what he's looking for. He glances up at the assembled Satanists in the hope that one of them will give him a hand, but none of them do.
What's he doing?
They just look at him with a mocking, scornful look.
Jesus.
He decides to carry on in spite of them and fumbles through the pages for quite some time. Eventually, the other board members get so frustrated at waiting that one comes over with an abrupt tone, turns to the right page, and points at which bit to recite. The rep tries to thank him, but before he can, the board members turned away and rejoined the others who were busy muttering under their breath about him. With a deep breath, he begins the ritual.
Satan! Satan! We, your humble servants, wish an audience with your almighty presence. We implore you to make yourself tangible so we may speak to your magnificence. We beg of you, Satan, listen to us. Oh, Satan!
The other executives now raise their arms, and with a casual effort they join in repeating these words over and over. None of the board members expect anything to happen. They've been doing this every day for months with no success. And they just want the rep to hurry up so that they can go back to pretending to work. As the ritual progresses, the air in the room grows thick, and smoke starts to appear around the altar. The board members haven't seen this happen before, and this inspires them to chant harder. Soon the smoke is heavy, and the light starts to crackle within it. Suddenly, the crackling lights explode with a deep intensity, which temporarily blinds everyone in the room. When their sight returns, they see a human figure standing before the altar. He has a smile on his face as he looks at them. The figure speaks.
Why are you all dressed in orange tiger striped robes with silver capes? You look quite ridiculous.
The board members all look at each other in shock. The council rep is the first to speak.
Who are you?
Who am I? Well, my name is Satan. You may have heard of me. I'm quite famous, you know. I've been in a lot of films.
The board members are speechless, and Satan continues.
I understand that you may have been trying to contact me for some time. I'd like to apologize about any communication delays, but it seems that half of my workforce has disappeared. Now, who is in charge here?
The board members all move away from the council rep, who now stands alone before Satan.
Oh, so you must be in charge? Very well. We have a lot of things to discuss. There are interesting times ahead, mortal.
The council rep is too stunned to reply. He just smiles weakly. Cheng is standing contemplating events on his own. So much has happened since they came here to this city. So much has changed. So many of his trusted people have gone. He has never felt such confusion and loneliness. The decision to bring demons to work here was alien to him and causing him to question, for the first time in his life, the role he has and the future he saw before him. What was the purpose of the temple now that they were allies with those they were supposed to destroy? Bringing them on board felt like a bitter defeat. Yet, if he was to save the temple, he must continue with this ever-increasing damage and see it through to the end. He was the only one left who believed in the temple's true mission, and if he then left, the temple would fall and never recover. He had to stay to navigate these dark times so there could be a future. The fate of the temple rested solely on his old and frail shoulders, and it weighed heavily. Steve sees him standing around in a trance again. This annoys him, as he has little time for this oriental mumbo-jumbo and comes over to tell him to sweep up.
Come on, Chingy Changy Bang Bang, get a broom and sweep up. The company doesn't pay you to stand around like a Mongo cheese licker. Get some work done.
Cheng hears him but doesn't move. Steve continues, but this time louder and with more contempt.
Oi, Ching Chang Bangalanga Bing Bong. Time to sweep up.
Cheng looks at him slowly, his eyes betraying an increasing annoyance, a burning furnace of hatred that bubbles beneath the surface as he looks at Steve's egotistical, self-satisfied face. Steve is completely oblivious to this and carries on.
The broom is here. It's time to move your ass. Or are you deaf as well as lazy? Come on, move your ass. Changa wanga winga wong.
Cheng snaps as he fires a fist at near supersonic speed, which smashes into Steve's smug, ugly face, catapulting him 40 feet through the air and crashing through the door to the toilets, splashing him into the massive piss lake, causing a mini tidal wave.
You have ruined this temple. You have caused everyone I love to leave. You have destroyed the temple's reputation and hard-fought legacy. You are a despicable cancer on this temple, and I hate you. Also, my name isn't Chinga Banga Binga Bong. It's Master Chen Fu!
Cheng feels strangely relieved, and for the first time in a long while, he feels a wave of happiness come over him as he looks at Steve's unconscious body, dressed in a Armani shirt and Gucci trousers, now soaked in piss. And he smiles. Then, wondering what to do, he now finds the broom and starts to sweep up. This episode was brought to you by Cine Downloads, narrated by Dr. Hugh Pincott. Today's episode featured Adam Deacon, Michael Berryman, Nicholas Vince, George Wilson, Y. Wong. Other voices provided by Louis Thompson, John Ian Dredge, Ben Carroll, Brandon Armitage, Chris Ball Hero, Dan Scott, Flo Ryan, Gina B, John Mitchell, Lee Norton, Neil Jane, Paul Cooper, Sean Gregson. Written, produced, edited and directed by John Mitchell. Co-produced by Chris Ball Hero. Sound recorded by Louis Thompson, Chris Ball Hero. Sound engineer Andrew Doc Collins. Theme tune by Jed Gray. Thank you for listening, and watch out for the next episode of the Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys.